Recording in progress.
Right. Okay, Lamai. Good evening, everyone. Uh, Welcome for the yet another session. Unara, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Right. Today, Lamai, I'm going to complete the budget, government budget, right? And in your syllabus, we need to discuss four balances of budget. Under the budget, there are four balances. Out of four, that three of them are really important. Last one is not much important. Right. Okay, here we go. Let's get started. Right. Budget. Give me 1 minute, Lamai. Right. Okay, Lamai. Can you see the screen I'm sharing? Yeah.
No, sir.
Mm, Now it's okay, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. Thank you. Government budget, Lamai. Government budget has to be completed expenditure side. Then our next focus is complete budget. Page number 22, government budget. Government budget. Right. My government budget, we can say the budget, the government budget is a financial plan. Lamai. Government budget is a financial plan prepared by the finance minister, right, of the country to be presented. Right, it is presented to the parliament, Lamai, by the finance ministry. Minister. Okay, the Lamai. Normally in Sri Lanka, Lamai, finance minister has been the Sri Lankan president. right? So president in Sri Lanka lamai every November, every year, month of November, finance minister or president, we can say in Sri Lanka, presents the budget, right? Presents the budget. Lamai, what are the items included in a budget? Budget mean in simple we can say it's a statement, right? It's a statement. Budget mean lamai, right? Example, you can prepare a budget for your family next month, right? Remember lamai, in the budget we include, budget mean remember, it does not include past or expenses or income, or expenses or income that already have occurred. No, right? Budget, remember this word budget. Budget means budget is prepared, or we can say budget is forecasted, or we can say predicted income and expenditure. Predicted income and expenditure. Predicted for upcoming year lamai, or upcoming financial year. Okay, the lamai. These are not actual. I mean, the already occurred, already happened. No, predicted. Predicted. Remember, estimated income and government expenditure for upcoming financial year. Okay, the lamai. So we can say the budget is a financial plan lamai. Budget is financial plan prepared by the finance minister of the country to be presented. Okay, this has to be present to the parliament. But before it gets approved, okay, the lama, it is called appropriation bill. That is called draft of the budget. Appropriation bill, right? Appropriation bill. Then Puta, when a majority of parliament members, right, approve the budget or budget or appropriation bill, it becomes act, right? That is act. That is called budget. Okay, so okay, the lamai. So simple. Read the definition, lamai. A document which includes all expected, lamai. As I told you, all expected expenditures of the government for next financial year, and there are two ones, lamai, and one which includes the way of collecting revenue to meet these expenditures, and which is then presented to the parliament and approved by them, is called budget. Government budget. Government budget. Okay, the lamai. Puta, if we discuss budget process in very simple way, first one is lamai appropriation bill, right? Let me explain. First step is the appropriation bill. First step of the budget is appropriation bill. Appropriation bill. Okay, the lamai. Uta, this is called draft of the budget. Draft of the budget. Uta, this is not an act. Remember, this is not budget. Actually, this is a draft, right? Before getting approved, lamai. This is called budget proposal. In other words, right? Appropriation bill, right? Who presents this, lamai? Finance minister, right? Or we can say in Sri Lanka, last year I can remember our president Anukumara Disanayaka presented budget for 2020 year 2026 lamai, right? November, right? 2025 November. Okay. So remember the appropriation bill or draft of the budget includes lamai all estimated income of the government and expenditure of the government for next upcoming financial year. Okay, the lamai. So first step is lamai appropriation bill, that is called budget, draft of the budget. Okay, the lamai. Then Buddha, we have to get this approved. Okay, from the parliament, right? After getting approved, Buddha, this becomes act and act, then law. Okay, the lamai, right? Before getting it approved, lama, it's not the act, just draft of the budget. Then lama, you might have seen after presenting this budget to the parliament, lama, you know, it needs to be get approved, right? You might have seen that yala maragan no heda lamai parliament එක. Okay, all parliament members need to give their votes lamai. Okay, the lamai, right? And then we can convert appropriate bill into, okay, this is the normal process lamai. In your syllabus, no need to discuss this process in detail. There are some steps lamai. The first one is, we can say, right, press vote. Okay, the lamai. Then second vote. Second times, the parliament members are given opportunity to vote. Okay, the lamai. Then there is a committee stage. Okay, the finally Buddha, after the third vote, this the appropriation bill becomes an act. Okay, this is the normal process of first step is the appropriation bill, that is a draft which is presented by finance minister to the parliament. Second step is my first vote stage. Okay, second vote stage. Then third one is my committee stage, right? There's a separate committee, and some updates are introduced, right? Some changes, right, need to be done to this appropriation bill. Okay, the lamai. Then after the committee stage, again Buddha, it presented to the parliament. Then that's called third vote. That's not much important for us. But remember, finally lamai, after getting approved Buddha, and this is the normal process of budget. Lamai, one time there was a question 2020 or 21. What is mean by appropriation bill? Right? Simple idea lama, appropriation bill mean act, draft of the, sorry, not act, draft of the budget before getting approved lama, right? Before getting it approved from the parliament. This is not act lama, it's just we can say statement including estimated income and estimated government expenditure for next year. Okay, any doubt lama? Yes. Next one, my third point, in a budget, balance is, sorry, in a government budget, the balance is also obtained by adjusting government revenue to government expenditures based on balance of budget. Three budgetary concepts are identified. Put the first one, write down three budgetary concepts. These are very simple. My first one, it should be three. Lamai, okay, not four. I have given you four dotted lines. No, three. What is first one? Write down my budget surplus. First one is budget. My budget surplus means government revenue or tax revenue exceeds government expense. Okay, the lamai. I'll use T for taxes lamai. TX government taxes is greater than government expenditure. G mean government okay the lamai Putha is very difficult for Sri Lankans to see a budget surplus. Very uncommon lamai. I think since 2000 since our independence lamai 1948 I think, right, we had only two budget surpluses in 2 years, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 1965 and 1995. Okay the lamai except those 2 years lamai, we have been experiencing huge budget deficits. Second concept is lamai budget deficit. You know, right? Budget deficit mean opposite lamai. Budget deficit. Budget deficit. Budget deficits mean lamai uh, government expenses. Government expenses greater than tax revenue. That's normally what we experience, right? Third concept is lamai we say balance budget. Balance budget. You guess what it is, right? Balance budget. Balance budget. Balance budget mean lamai is very rare situation, right? Sometimes with the government expenses could be equal to tax revenue. This is called balance, right? So remember, every budget, okay, every budget can be classified into one of them, right? It should be budget surplus or budget deficits. Very rarely, it can be balanced budget as well. In Sri Lanka, we have been experiencing huge budget deficits, unfortunately, since 1948, except 2 years. Okay. Any doubt, Lamai? Then, Pata, I have given you small definition. If government expenditures are greater than government revenue, it is called budget deficit. If government expenditures are lower than government revenue, that is called budget surplus. Uh, if government expenditures are equal to government revenue, that is called balance. It is called balance budget. And Lamai, remember, uh, right? It is not. I mean, preparing a budget, Lamai. Preparing a budget. I mean, for next up. I mean, financial year. It is not an easy task by any strength of imagination, right? It's very complicated process, lama. So that just imagine, right? You want to prepare a small budget, right, including estimated income and estimated expenditure for next month of your family, lama, right? How difficult it will be, lama, right? It's very difficult, right? Because prices are subject to fluctuate, right? Variety of goods and services to fulfill needs of household, lamai, right? And also, lamai, the needs are different. I mean, if you the consider individual, whether members of household, your family individually, lamai, right? Their preferences are different, lamai, and income sources or income are subject to change. Okay, the lamai. So it's very difficult, right? Not to country, lamai, right? It's very difficult for us to prepare a small budget for our family, lamai. Understand? So remember, preparing a budget including estimated expenditures and income for one country, lamai, for one country or government, right? How difficult it is. Very difficult, lamai. So number one, Buddha, it is not easy task by any strength of imagination, right? Outsiders can say ආපෝ මොනවද මේ කරන්නේ government එකට budget එකක් හදාගන්න බැරිද එහෙම කියලා කියන්න පුළුවන් ළමයි, but it's really complicated process. Okay the ළමයි, and also ළමයි, we have to appreciate, right, and also we have to accept this complexity of preparing a budget, right, rather than criticizing the government, right? So what I need to say, Lama, this is very complicated process, right? Just imagine lamai, as I told you, preparing a small budget for next month, right? For your family lamai, then you will see how difficult it is, right? So then lamai, think of a one economy, right? Government income, government expenditure is really complicated process. Okay, the lamai, any doubt? No. Next one lamai, can you guys, are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay, lamai, next one. Some measures are used to investigate the nature of government budget. Government budget. Uh, Lamai, this part is really important. We have to discuss these four areas. Actually, not four areas. Basically, three areas. First, fourth one is not much important. Lamai, it's not an economic concept. Lamai, it is concept in public accounting. Okay, the Lamai. But anyway, I'll give you a small definition and small idea about net cash deficit. Plus three Buddha need to be discussed very in detailed, right? No any excuse. Uh, Especially third one, Lamai. Third one is really important, right? Write down Buddha. We can calculate these budgetary balances. Number one, current account deficit. Write down current account deficit. Current account deficit. Second one, Lamai. Overall budget deficit. Current account deficit. Second one, overall. It can be surplus as well, current account deficit or surplus, right? Normally we say current account balance or current account deficit. Second one, overall balance. Second one is overall balance. Second one is overall. Second one, overall balance. Third one, Lamai, write down. This is really, really important, Lamai. Primary balance. Primary balance. Okay. Last one, Lamai. Net cash deficit. Net cash deficit. Right, as I told you, this is not an economic concept. Net cash, net cash, net cash deficit, or there's another name for this. Samai. This is called net financial deficit as well. Net financial, net financial, net financial deficit. Ini lama. Net financial. Lama, let me know once you are done. Lama, let me know once you are done.
Done, sir.
Sitma, Sandil. Next one, Lamai, let's discuss one by one. Let's get it done. Balance of current account, Lamai. This is really very simple idea, Lamai. Get the simple idea. Balance of current account means, Lamai, the balance of, sorry, the balance obtained. I mean, this current account balance obtained after deducting, Lamai, only recurrent expenditures. Can you remember, Buddha? Recurrent recurrent expenditures. Can you remember, Lamai, government expenses are classified into three parts, ne? Recurrent, capital, and net lending. Matakai neda lamai. balance of current account එක calculate කරන්න ළමයි අපි government revenue එකෙන්. එතකොට ළමයි government revenue කිව්වහම අර දෙකම තියෙනවා මොනවද? tax and non-tax. Right? Government revenue includes both taxes and non-taxes. Then Puta, we need to deduct, subtract current expenditures from government revenue. That balance is called current account balance. Remember Puta, Central Bank of Sri Lanka calculates these four balances. If you go through the annual report, Lama, you can see all of these balances, are shown in the called, that is called now economic review actually, right? Or annual report or central bank report, Lamai, right? So you need to clarify, Lamai, right? You need to understand the difference among these concepts, Lamai, right? Number one, balance of current account. That simple idea, Lamai. Balance of current account is calculated by deducting only recurrent expenditures from only total government revenue, Lamai. Total government revenue. Okay. Shall we write down the equation, Lamai? Again, ළමයි මේකේ capital expenditures and net lending අපි ගන්න නැහැ. Right? Only recurrent expenditure. Write down the definition, sorry, equation. Write down ළමයි balance of current account equals balance of current account equals government total revenue, ළමයි. Government total revenue, government total revenue minus only ළමයි recurrent expenditures. Recurrent recurrent. Okay, the ළමයි. Put write down the current account, sorry, government total revenue includes both tax and non-tax. Okay, right. Next one, lamai, simple. Next idea is overall balance, lamai. Simple, lamai. Overall balance is calculated by deducting all government expenses from the, but there's a small adjustment, lamai. When calculating overall balance, lamai, we need take not the government revenue, lamai. There is a concept called government receipt, lamai. Right? Receipt equals lamai government revenue in tax plus non-tax plus grants. Foreign grants, lamai. Grants කියන්නේ මොනවද ළමයි? These are not loans, Puta, no need to pay back. Like donation charities, lamai. Sometimes our government is given some donation charities from other foreign governments. These are called grants, lamai. Remember, when calculating overall balance, lamai, we need to add this government grant to the government total revenue, lamai. Then you can have government receipt, total receipt. Overall balance is calculated, lamai, government receipt minus all government expense. Right? Obtain lamai by deducting. Here, obtain by deducting total government expenses, lamai. Total government expenses includes recurrent, capital, and net lending. Right? From total revenue, here actually Puta, it should be total receipt. Total revenue including grants mean total revenue including grants. This is called receipt. Total government receipt. Okay. Total government receipt. Okay, the lamai. Write down the equation, lamai. Government overall balance equals overall balance equals balance equals lamai government receipt. Remember the word, right? Government receipts. Or Buddha, you can be given government revenue including grants. It means government receipt minus all government expenses. All government all government expenses. All government. Okay, the lamai. Let me know once you are done. I'm not going to explain this alternative method, Putha. I'll do one calculation and then I'll come to the alternative method, right? Putha, I done with these equations. Punara,
Yes, sir.
budget, are they statements? Yes, Putha. You prepare accounting statement. No. Statement of financial position, income statement. මේ වගේම තමයි බජට් එකකුත්. ක්ලියර්ද? නිකන් ස්ටේට්මන්ට් එකක්. මේකේ ස්ටේට් දැන් ඔයාලා ළමයි බජට්ස් තියනවාද කවුන්ටිං වල මම දන්නේ නැහැ ළමයි. දැන් ඔයාලා කම්පැනි ප්‍රයිවට් ඕගනයිසේෂන් එකකට ගියොත් ළමයි යාලා බජට් එකක් හදනවා. හැම අවුරුද්දකම යාලා බජට් එකක් හදනවා. බජට් එක කියන්නේ සන්දිල් හැම වෙලාවකම අර ඔයාලා accounting වල ගන්නේ past data නේ ළමයි. එහෙම නේද? In the financial accounting පුතා you know consider all past income and expense. Budget කියන්නේ ළමයි for next forecasted predicted. කියද ළමයි? Okay. Right, let's do this calculation, Lamai. The following table shows hypothetical information for a particular economy item. Put the design all values are in rupees. Item and value. Tax revenue given Lamai 50,000. Non-tax revenue 13,000. Recurrent expenditures. Recurrent expenditures. Can anyone tell me what are the other components included in recurrent expenditures, Lamai? Really important this part. Recurrent expenditures. Reoccurring expenses, again and again the government has to make these expenses. Last day I told you there are three categories, three categories or three subcomponents of recurrent expenditures. Can anyone tell me what is first one? Punara, expenses on
Goods and services.
goods and services. Second one, Sandil, 1 second. What is second category of recurrent expenditures? Sitma, interest payment. Third one, Sitma, what is third one? Current transfers and subsidies. Current transfers and subsidies. These are the three elements of recurrent expenditures. Capital expenditures 25,000 lamai, grants 5,000, net lending given 3. Calculate the following. First one put current account balance. First one is current account balance. Put the write down the equation. Current account balance. Right, write down the equation lamai. Current account balance equals, this is page number 24. Example. First one lamai current account balance. Current account balance. Current account balance is calculated lamai. What is the equation lamai? Government revenue. Government revenue minus only recurrent expenditures. Only recurrent expenditures. The simple idea is in the current account balance, right? Uh, you know, our main here the we need to see whether government is able to cover its recurrent expenditures from the total income limit, right? Whether government is able to cover at least limit. Forget capital expenditures limit, day-to-day expenses from its income limit. That is called current account balance. In this example, lamai total revenue. Remember, total revenue equals both tax and non-tax lamai, right? Here, total tax income lamai 50,000. Non-tax 13,000. Then total government revenue is 63,000. 63,000 minus recurrent expenditures, only recurrent lama. Recurrent expenditures 60,000. 60,000 minus 60,000, then Buddha, it should be budget, current account balance should be plus 3,000. Lamai 3,000 mean this is called budget surplus, current account surplus. Current account surplus. Current account surplus. Okay, the Lamai. Lamai in Sri Lanka, Lamai in Sri Lanka. Do you know that current account balance has been a deficit for long period of time, Lamai. Forget all expenses, Lamai. Not all expenses. Forget capital expenditures and net lending, Lamai. The government revenue is not enough. Government revenue is not enough to cover only what? Which one? Recurrent day-to-day expenses, Lamai. In other words, Lamai, government has not been able to collect or earn revenue, total revenue to cover day-to-day expenses. What are the day-to-day expenses? There are three: goods and expenses on goods and services, especially government workers' salary, interest payment, and transfers and subsidies. Our Sri Lankan government revenue is not enough to cover day-to-day, at least day-to-day expense. See how poor we are, Lamai, right? This is called a very poor financial discipline, Lamai. What is that? Financial discipline or physical discipline, right? Okay, the Lamai. Capital expenditures is okay. In other words, Lamai, here in our example, Lamai, there is a surplus. In Sri Lanka, Lamai, it's always current account deficit. Buddha, if there is a current account deficit, Lamai, we have to finance this deficit from loans, Lamai. We have we have to borrow funds. We have to borrow funds, or we have to take loans from other countries, so from Sri Lankan banking sector to cover not capital expenses, Lamai. Not lending, forget net lending and capital expenditures, Lamai. We have to borrow funds to cover day-to-day government expenses. How poor we. Okay, the lamai. Example with that, just imagine in your household family lamai, if your household has to borrow funds from outsiders, maybe bank or from any outsiders to cover day-to-day expenses. If you mean your family income is not enough to cover day-to-day expenses, how poor your family is, lama. Same story, lama. Right? Right. Current account balance. Are you okay with this, Punara, Sandeep, Sidma?
Yes, sir.
Next one, Lamai. Overall budget balance. Overall budget balance. Overall budget balance. Overall budget balance. Write down the equation, Lamai. Overall budget balance. Overall budget balance equals, Lamai. Here we need to take government receipts, Lamai. Government receipts. Government receipts minus total government expenses, Lamai. Total government expenses. Total government expense. Like government receipt means government revenue. It's mean 63,000 plus grants. Grants. We need to add government grant. Grant mean it kind of donation, right? Or we can say charities from other government organization, or we can say from other countries, right? We need to add government grants, how much the grant amount? Fine. Okay, the lamai. After adding government grants, Puta, you can have total government minus lamai total government expenses. You are given total government expenses, lamai recurrent expenditures 1,000, capital expenditures 25,000 plus net lending is there, lamai 3,000. Then I think total government expenditure here, Puta, total government receipt should be 1,000 minus total government expenses should be 78,000. Then Puta, overall we have overall budget deficit. How much, lamai? Minus 30,000. Minus 30,000 mean, lamai, overall uh, budget deficit. Overall budget. Overall budget. In Sri Lanka, lamai, no need to explain, lamai, why. Current account balance is it has been negative or deficit, lamai, then no need to talk about overall balance, lamai, right? If current account balance is deficit, lamai, overall balance must be a deficit, huge deficit, right? Any doubt? Yes, lamai. Let me know once you are done.
Dance.
Okay. Sitma, Sandil,
One minute, sir.
lamai, can you make uh, an alternative equation to calculate overall budget balance, lamai? If you are given current account balance, if you are given current account balance, Puta, how can you calculate overall budget? This is alternative equation for alternative. equation to calculate overall budget balance. Overall budget balance equals overall budget. Overall budget balance equals lamai current account balance. Current account balance. Current account balance. But if you are given current account balance, how can you calculate overall balance? What are the adjustments that need to be made to current account balance to calculate overall budget balance? Itma? Punara? What are the adjustments? Alamai? Assume you are given current account balance, Lamai. How current account balance is calculated? Government revenue minus recurrent expenditures. Right? Overall budget balance is calculated. Government receipts, Lamai, not the government revenue. Then, Lamai, what should I do? If you are given current account balance, Lamai, we need to add government grants. Because Lamai, when calculating current account balance, grants are not included. But when calculating overall balance, we need to consider government receipts. So at government grants minus SITMA, what are the components need to be deducted? Ayyo Lamai, what are the components? Punara? Tell me Lamai. Overall balance, budget balance equals current account balance. You are given current account balance Lamai. Then what are the adjustments need to be made to calculate overall balance? Sitma?
The current expenditures,
Huh?
the current expenditures plus net lendings,
Recurrent or capital?
capital.
Capital ළමයි. ඇයි ළමයි current account balance දැන් ඔයාලට දෙන්නේ පුතා current account balance එක. current account එක balance එක කොහොමද cal කරන්නේ මේ? government revenue වලින් current expenditure අයින් කරලා තියෙන්නේ ළමයි. දැන් මම ඔයාගෙන් අහනවා current account balance එක දුන්නාට පස්සේ ඔයා overall balance එක calculate කරන්න මොකද්ද කරන්න ඕන? මොනවද adjustments? ඇයි ළමයි current account එක ගන්නකොට මේ grants ගන්න නැහැ නේ. ඒ ගන්න නැති එක add කරන්න ඕනනේ. grants minus මේ current account balance එක calculate කරද්දී only recurrent expenditures deducted. හැබැයි overall එක cal කරනවා recurrent නෙමෙයි. තව ඉතුරු ඔක්කොම අයින් කරන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට ළමයි minus the deduct the components that we have not deducted from current account balance when calculating current account balance. What are the components? Capital and capital expenditure plus net lending. Write down this equation as well. Punara, are you clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sandeep? Okay. Shall we move on? Lamai, let me know once you are done. Are you okay with this alternative equation of calculating overall balance budget? Right. Next one. Primary deficit or surplus lama. Primary deficit or surplus. Primary deficit or surplus. Primary deficit or surplus. Lamai, in government budget, when calculating government budget, this is considered as very important turning point, very important concept, especially managing government expenses and income. Primary deficit or surplus. Primary deficit or surplus. So when you look at the value of primary deficit or surplus, you can get an idea about government's fiscal management or fiscal discipline. Whether government has been able to, succeed in managing physical side, government expenses and income or not. So primary deficit is really important, lamai, than other concepts. Primary deficit. Read lamai, primary deficit, how is it calculated? Lamai, primary balance obtained after deducting total government expenditure. Then after deducting total government expenditures, we need to deduct total government expenses. What are the total government expenses, lamai? Recurrent, capital and net lending, excluding one component, lamai. Right? Deducting or total government expenditures, excluding interest payment, lamai. Excluding interest payment for public debt from the total government receipt. Here also, Buddha, we need to consider government receipt, but not the all expenses. All expenses, yes, excluding one component which is included in recurrent expenditures. What is that? That is called primary account balance. Primary account balance. Okay, the lamai. Primary account balance. Then what is a simple idea? My primary account balance is calculated by deducting total government expenditures, recurrent, capital and net lending, excluding interest payment. Excluding interest payments. Okay, the lamai. Punara, Sitma, you okay with this?
Yes, sir.
Lamai, why? Right, I'll write down the equation. Look at the board. Overall balance budget is calculated, Lamai. Overall budget balance is calculated. How? Government receipts minus total government expenses. What are the total government expenses? What are the components coming under total government expenditures? Recurrent, plus capital, plus net lending, Lamai. With the recurrent expenditures, again, there are three components. What are the three components? Punara, what are the three components coming under recurrent? Yes, lamai. What are the components coming under recurrent? Number one, expenses on goods and services, lamai. Second one, interest payment. Third one, transfers and subsidies. Transfers and subsidies. Right? Recurrent expenditures includes these three. Okay, the lamai. Then how to calculate overall budget balance? Overall budget balance equal government receipts minus recurrent, including these three components, capital and net lending. How to calculate primary account balance? Primary account balance equals lamai. Government receipt, yes. We need to take government receipts. Government receipts. Government receipts minus total expenses තමයි ළමයි. හැබැයි මොකද්ද? මෙන්න මේක ගන්න එපා කියලා කියන්නේ ළමයි. Sorry, interest payment. Second component of recurrent වල ළමයි. Clearද? Total expenditures ගන්න. අවරකේ ඔක්කොම ගත්තනේ ළමයි. Total government expenses එක ගන්න. හැබැයි අර මොකද්ද? recurrent එකේ තියෙන interest payment එක ගන්න එපා. Okay ද ළමයි? Right. Government receipts minus total government expenses. Total government expenses තමයි excluding ළමයි. Excluding interest payments. Interest payments for domestic and foreign loans. This is the equation for calculating primary account balance. Primary account balance. Lamai, why do we have to calculate such a component, such a concept? Can anyone tell me? What is the requirement, Lamai? What is the requirement? The main reason, Lamai, is interest payment. Interest payment is the result of past debt. Okay, the Lamai. This is not the fault of current government. Yeah, current government is responsible for paying interest. Okay, the lamai, but this is not the result of we can say no, this is not the result of current government policies. Did you get the point? This new government puta can't say no, this interest payments for not previous loans, right? Our government did not borrow funds, right? Previous governments have borrowed funds from different countries and different methods. So I am not responsible for I'm not responsible to pay this interest because my government has not taken loan. So I'm not going to pay interest payment for part debts. Clear? This government, new government is liable to pay this interest payment. Interest payment. These are main past. These are not due to past debt. Okay, I think clear. Okay, the lamai. So measure the actual current government performance, right? To measure actual financial or we can say fiscal discipline of the current government, lamai, we have to exclude, right? We have to ignore this interest payment, interest expenditures paid or interest expenditures or expenses that present government has to pay for past debt. Are you okay with this? Actually, Lamai, the main advantage of calculating primary account balance is to calculate or to measure the actual performance of fiscal discipline of current government. Because Lamai, this interest payment, it is for past debt. Are you okay with this? In other words, Lamai, we can say budget situation without the burden of interest payment. Budget situation without the burden of interest payment. Okay, the lamai. Because lamai interest payment You cannot control lamai. This present government cannot control. That is committed. Even though budget gets, that's a commitment lamai, right? That's a commitment. Okay, the present government is liable to pay interest for part debt as well. There's a commitment. But remember, Lama, it is not logical, or it's not logical to consider or deduct this interest payment from the government receipts, Lama, because these are these interest payments for part debts, Lama. Are you okay with this? In other words, Futa, we can say calculating budget balance considering what we can control today. That's good point. Calculating budget balance considering what we can control today, because interest payment totally out of control. We have to pay today. That is another story. That's a commitment. We can't avoid paying interest, Lama. We have to pay it. But that is not the results of present government, Lama. Okay, because these loans, these loans belong to other, previous governments, Lama, not to present government. Okay. I have prepared a small note for this, Lama. I'll share that one. So give me 1 minute. Can you explain again between receipts and revenue? පුතා receipts revenue කියන්නේ මොනවද? revenue එකේ තියෙන සන්දිල් government tax revenue එකයි non tax revenue එකයි. tax revenue non tax revenue ආ දන්නවනේ. tax revenue එකේ දන්නවනේ ළමයි. income coming from taxes. non tax කියන්නේ government එකට තියෙනවා income තමයි, හැබැයි non tax. taxes නෙමෙයි මොනවද? fees and fines. Okay ද ළමයි. ඊට පස්සේ interest income, ඊට පස්සේ ළමයි government එකට තියෙනවා properties නේද, lands තියෙනවා, යාට buildings තියෙනවා, මේවා rent out කරන්න පුළුවන්, ඒකෙන් යාට income එකක් එනවා, මේවා non tax revenue. හරිද? the tax non tax ඔය දෙකට අපි කියනවා ළමයි government revenue කියලා, total government revenue. receipts කියන්නේ සන්දිල් ඔය revenue එකට add කරන්න ඔයා government එකට තියෙනවා grants කියලා වගේක් ළමයි. grants කියන්නේ නිකන් හම්බ වෙන ඒවා සන්දිල්. නේද? ඒවා ටැක්ස් වත් non tax වත් නෙමෙයි, ඔය සමහරලාට දෙනවා ළමයි. ගොඩක් වෙලාවට Japan, right, has been one of the main countries giving donations or charities. We no need to pay ළමයි, no need to pay these grants back. Free money ළමයි. Okay, so if government has grants, we need to add these grants to the government total revenue ළමයි. Then we can have government receipts. Here the right. Give me 1 minute. ප්‍රයිමරි account එක, ප්‍රයිමරි balance budget, sorry balance එකේ බලන්නේ ළමයි අපි present government එකට පුළුවන්ද expenses, දැන් expenses cover කරගන්න ළමයි interest payment අයින් කරලවත් මේ කට්ටියට පුළුවන්ද මේක cover කරගන්න කියලා බලන්න ළමයි. ඒව පුළුවන් නම් මාර හොඳයි ළමයි government. නේද? ඒ present government එක. ඒ කියන්නේ යා interest payment කියන්නේ ළමයි අර ඒක කොහොමත් commitment එකක්. අපි දන්නෙත් නෑ ඒවා අර කලින් ගත්ත ලෝන්ස් වලට අපි ගෙවන්න ඕනි ළමයි. ක්ලියර්ද? ඉතින් ඒක මේ ප්‍රසන්ට් ගවර්න්මන්ට් එකටත් අපිට එයාට ඒක මුකුත් කරන්න බෑනේ ළමයි. හරිද? එයාට අනිවාර්යෙන් මේක ගෙවන්න වෙනවා. ක්ලියර්ද? මේවා කියනවා අපි නේද? That is inherent from previous government. ඕකේද ළමයි? Inherent from previous government. It's a huge burden නේ ළමයි. ක්ලියර්ද? ප්‍රීවියස් ගවර්න්මන්ට්ස් එයාලා මොකද කරන්නේ ළමයි? එයාලා අවුරුදු 5ක් විතර ඉඳලා එයාලා ගෙදර යනවා. හැබැයි එයාලා ගත්ත ලෝන්ස් වල ඉන්ට්‍රස්ට් ළමයි. ඒවා යාරන් යන්නේ නෑනේ ළමයි. ඒ බර්ඩන් එක අර අලුත් ගවර්න්මන්ට් එකට දීලා තමයි යන්නේ ළමයි. තේරෙද ළමයි? පොඩ අවුල් කියලා වඩ තේරෙනව නේද ළමයි? That is called that is inherent from previous government. Huge interest burden. හරි දැන් ඔයා ඕනි කියලානේ ගත්තේ. මෙන්න තියෙනවා. පේ කරන් යන්න. ක්ලියර්ද ළමයි? එතකොට නිව් ගවර්න්මන්ට් එකක් ළමයි පව එකට එනවා කියන්නේ යාර ඉන්ට්‍රස්ට් බර්ඩන් එකත් එක්කම තමයි යන්න ඕන ළමයි. Which bird is called crown of thorns ළමයි. Crown a huge burden. Okay the ළමයි. Then පුතා under the primary account balance පුතා we consider or we measure the performance of current government, right, without burden of interest. හරි කරන්ට් ඉන්ට්‍රස්ට් කියන්නේ මේ ගවර්න්මන්ට් එකේ රෙස්පොන්සිබිලිටි කියන්නේ මේ ගවර්න්මන්ට් එක කරපු එකක් නෙමෙයිනේ ළමයි. කලින් ඒ වගේ ප්‍රශ්නයක්නේ. හරි ඒ ටික අපි අයින් කරමුකෝ බලන්න. අන්න එහෙම කන්සෙප්ට් එකක්. ඒ ටික අයින් කරලවත් ගවර්න්මන්ට් එකට පුළුවන් ද එක්ස්පෙන්සස් ටික කවර් කරගන්න. ඒකට කියනවා ප්‍රයිමරි account surplus. ඕකේද ළමයි? Remember පුතා turn in and this is I mean primary account surplus is considered as very important point and also turning point. If present government can generate a primary account surplus lamai, the fiscal management of present government is brilliant lamai. What does it mean? Present government has been able to cover up all present government, right, expenses they can control from the receipts they can I mean receipts or government revenue they have government revenue they earn. I think are you okay with this? That is called primary account deficit. Puta in Sri Lanka, 2016 Puta during I think Mangala Samarveera. You know Mangala Samarveera? One of the you know very educated and very experienced finance minister in Sri Lanka. Politically lamai I don't know whether a bad person, but I mean in education and experience side very honest, right? I think he died during COVID pandemic. During Mangala Samarveera's time period 2006 තමයි the Sri Lankan government was able to achieve primary account surplus. Primary account. Okay, dalama. It means puta calculating budget balance considering what we can control. Okay, this means present government is able to cover up all government expense. All government expense. Excluding interest payment or excluding burden of interest caused by previous government. Okay, are you okay with? Has definition been given? Okay, yes. So I'll send this document to your WhatsApp group as same thing, Lamai. These are the two equations. Can you write down these two equations, Lamai? It's a way of calculating primary account balance. Calculating primary account. Write down these two. Sorry, give me 1 minute. I'll share the word. Now, can you see the Word document I'm sharing? Right? Write down these two equations. Hello, Lamai. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
This is your page number 25.
Page number 24 under the primary account balance.
Okay, sir.
There are two boxes. Primary account balance can be calculated කියලා තියෙනවා නේද ළමයි? දාන්න. Total government revenue and grants ඒ කියන්නේ receipts ළමයි. ඒකෙන් minus කරන්න you minus total government expenditure excluding interest payment. Method 2 කියන්නේ alternative method. එකක් ඔයාලට overall balance එක දීලා තියෙනවා. ඒ interest payment එක add කරන්න. Lamai, let me know once you are done.
Done, sir.
Others, Lamai?
Done, sir.
Right, give me 1 minute. Right, okay, Lamai. Shall we do this small calculation? Then you will realize what it is. Example, Lamai. Economy 1, economy 2. Receipts 500 or values are in billions. Expenditure without interest 480. Government debt 1000. Interest on debt 100 lamai. The important point is lamai this 1000 debt is mean to the government loans, right? How much past governments have borrowed funds, borrowed from maybe from other countries and or from domestic banking sector. Okay, the lamai that is called government debt. 1000 billion. This is the interest payment for debt 100. Okay, the lamai. Calculate the primary balance. Calculate primary balance for economy A lamai. Calculate the primary balance and total borrowings of the government lamai. Total borrowings of the government. Calculate primary balance first. That is simple lamai. Primary balance means received minus all government expenses without interest lamai. Without yeah, interest payment Sandeep. Yes. Why don't we consider grants when calculating current account balance? එමයි දරු ඒකට ඉතින් රීසන් එකක් එකන අපි කරන්ට කවන්් බැලන්ස එක පුනාර බලන්න එකන කරන්ට කවන්් එක එකන එක්ස්පෙන්සස් එක ගවන් කරන්ට කවන්් කරන්ට එක්ස්පෙන්සස් ගව රිකරන්ට එක්ස්පෙන්සස් කව කරලා ගන්න පුළුවන්ද කියලා බලන්න යා ඉන්කම්ම ග්‍රාන් සැට් කරන්න නැත්තේ ඇයි කියලා හුවොත් ළමයි ආන්ස එකක් දෙන්න අමාරු ඉතින් ඒ කර ගවන්මන්ට් එක යස් කරන කන්සෙප් එකක් ළමයි තියද රීසන්ස් නෑ සමහයි අපි රීසන්ස් කිව්ව කියලා වැඩක් නෑ පුුණා නෙක්ලියද okay
Yes, sir.
okay mean in
13
the
question.
yes Puda.
I can't see the question.
No, I'll give a time. Yeah, it's okay. I'm going to use the whiteboard. Listen lamai so sorry, current account balance means one of the fiscal balances which can be seen in the annual report lamai. I mean a central bank report. So this is the way of calculating an real idea of current account balance. When calculating current account balance, we consider only government revenue. Grants are not taken into account lamai. There's no exact reason lamai. This is the way of calculating current account balance by the government, right? Uday, this is not only the, I mean, concept used by Sri Lankan government. Uday, these are, I mean, international standards. Okay, in other countries also, Buddha, they calculate current account balance by deducting recurrent expenditures from only government revenue, total revenue. These are all our standards, international standards, Buddha, right? Because these are not, I mean, Sri Lankan government logics and methods, right? We have to follow international standards when calculate, especially this budgetary balances, and other one is balance of payment, change rate, Buddha, we have to follow international. So there's a no logic for that, Punar. That is a normal way of calculating. Yes, Sigma, any doubt? Sakar, do you have added interest payment? Yes. Okay. Why is added? It must be deducted. හරි. අපි එක්සාම්පල් එක කරමු සාන්දීල එතකොට වඩත්තේ. සිත්ම හරිනේ ෂුවර් එකක් නැහැ නේද දැන්? ඔයාලට මේ ක්වෙස්චන් එකනේ අවුල තියෙන්නේ.
Also, I mean, I can't see the screen.
Right. Right. Economy 1. Right. First question is to calculate primary account balance. Lamai. How to calculate primary account balance? Primary account balance equals primary account balance equals primary account balance equals receipts. Lamai. Government. Huh? Government receipts minus government receipts minus all expenses. Lamai. Government expenses. Tamai. Excluding or expenditure, government expenses without interest. Lamai. Without interest. Receipts given lamai. Receipts 500. Expenditure without interest 480 lamai. Right? Then you can say the primary account balance is a surplus minus 20. Minus 20. Total public debt 1000. Listen lamai, listen very carefully. Yeah? Total debt 1000. Total public debt 1000. For 1000 deputa, this government is liable to pay 100 billion interest payment. This is the interest payment for past debt interest. Interest. Then puta, can this present government say this is right? Can present government say no, no, no? This is I'm not responsible for this interest payment. Yes, Sri Lanka has to pay 100 million interest, but my government has not taken loans from any source. So I'm not going to pay this 100 million interest payment. Please go and ask from previous financial. එහෙම කියන්න පුළුවන්ද ළමයි? Finished or previous government. එහෙම කියන්න බෑනේ ළමයි. So present government has to pay this interest payment ළමයි. It's a commitment. Even though it's a result of past debt ළමයි, we have to pay. Okay, the lamai. Then Buddha, this government has been, new government has been able to cover up all expenses that they can control, right? All expenses from total receipts, lamai. Right? They have a surplus as well. Surplus mean Buddha, they have something excess. They have excess money. After covering all expenses, Buddha, they have 20 million excess funds. Then lamai, this government has to pay 100 billion interest. Then now Buddha, this government does not have money, right? The government has to have money, 100 billion. Other, lenders and other China and IMF, they are asking, please pay your interest payment. Then this government, government has excess amount in the primary balance, primary account balance 20. Then Buddha, this 20 million can be used to settle this interest, not all, part of it. Okay, the lamai. Then Buddha, present government can say, assume this 100 million has to be paid to IMF. Then present government can say, okay, IMF, wait. I don't have 100 rupees to pay you, but I have 20 rupees excess, right? I'll pay you it now, right now. Okay. Then Buddha, this 20 million can be given to IMF or any lender, right? Then deduct this 20 million. Then how much the total interest payment which is due? How much lamai? 80. Right? Then IMF is saying Yes, yesterday you paid 20, you have to pay another 80 rupees. Lama. Then this government don't have funds, Lama. Just imagine, right? Government does not have funds because now the tax revenue and the grants, everything finished, done. Okay. Then Buddha, how can government make this payment? Yes. Tell me, Lama. How this new government can make this payment? How can this interest payment be paid, Lama? Now all taxes have been collected and all expenses have been settled. Now nothing remaining. Okay, the Lamai. We have to pay excess, 20 million, 80 million interest payment, Lamai. Right? They are pressurizing our government. Now the new government has to pay this 80. By granting loans. We can say granting loans. Don't use that word, Putha. Granting loans. We can say borrow funds. Yeah, concept is okay. Then Buddha, we have to pay this 80 million, right, from borrowings, Lamai. That is the only option we have. Don't say increase taxes, reduce expenses. We can't do it on the spot, Lamai. Right? So then we have to pay this amount. We have to pay this 80 million from borrowings, Lamai. Then Buddha, the present government has to borrow. Present government has to borrow funds. Borrow how much, Lamai? 80 billion. This is the total government borrowings for this year. Are you okay with this? Punara, Sandeep, Sitma?
Yes, sir.
Okay, the Lamai. Right. Second example, economy number 2. Receipts 500, expenditure without interest, ekat 500, interest same Lamai. All other values are same. Right. Economy 2. Right. Primary account balance equals Lamai. Receipts 500. I'll send the document, right? Receipts 500 Lamai minus expenditure without interest also 500. 500 minus 500. How much the value, Lamai? 0. It's mean, Lamai, primary account balance is 0. What does it mean? Present government has been able to cover all expenses without interest on past debt. Good government, Lamai. Good turning point, actually. You know, assume Buddha, it's a very new government. So at end of the year, Buddha, the government has achieved something, right? It's a good, actually good improvement, right? A step in the right direction, Lamai. It doesn't mean that this government is, is no problem, is 100% okay with fiscal management. No, 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 no. Primary account surplus mean, Lamai, it's somewhat okay. We can appreciate, right? 0. Now, Lamai, how much the total loan 1000? But this part doesn't change, right? Total loans 1000, then interest payment is 100. Assume the interest rate is 10%, then 100 interest payment has to be made. Then Lamai, IMF is coming and asking, government, hello government, it's IMF. Okay, then Lamai, your previous brothers and sisters have borrowed so many funds from my organization. Your interest payment for this year is 100 million. You have to pay it. Okay, the new government can't say no, IMF. My government hasn't borrowed from IMF, so I'm not going to pay your interest. Then Buddha, this government has to pay this 100 million interest. So Buddha, this government does not have any single rupee because all government expenses have been already spent on right? Now the nothing remaining. So this entire interest payment, entire interest payment has to be paid from borrowings. Now, Lamai, total borrowing should be how much, Lamai? Government has to borrow 100 million. This is the total borrowing for this year. Are you okay with this? Okay, the Lamai? Yes. So can't previous government settle the loans? 1 minute. Can't previous government? Can't previous government settle the loans before the new government? No, Buddha. That culture is not in Sri Lanka. No, they can't settle these loans, Punara. These are in trillions, Lamai. Right? I'll show you the loans amount, Lamai. These Sri Lankan public debt are in trillions. Okay, the Lamai. I think the government won't be able to settle it for next 50 to 100 years, Lamai. That much of huge burden, Lamai. That's why I told you that interest payment is inherent problem, Lamai. When previous government, goes home, Lamai, right, leaves the parliament, that burden, interest burden and the debt burden automatically comes to the shoulders of new government. They can't, run away from that. They can't run away from that. Okay, the Lamai, they have to get the challenge now. No, it is impossible. It's not like how the small loan that one family, right, takes, Lamai. No, it's a huge loan amount, huge burden, right? Values are in trillion, Lamai. So it's impossible for previous government to settle it before new government comes to the power. Are you okay with this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. Then Lamai, economy number 3. Economy number 3, Lamai. Same amount, receipts 500, Lamai. Now total expenses, Lamai. 1 minute. Total expenses 550 without interest. Total expenses 550. Now, Sitma, tell me how much the primary account balance? How much the primary account balance? 500 minus 550 is plus value or minus value?
Negative.
Negative, minus. It means Lamai primary account deficit. What does it mean, Lamai? The new government does not have enough funds to cover up expenses even without interest, Lamai. Okay, because when calculating primary account balance, Lamai, we don't consider that interest, right? It means this present government has not been able to cover its all expenses, excluding interest even, from the total revenue. Then Buddha, government has primary account deficit. Then Buddha, government has to borrow 50 million to settle this deficit in the primary account, right? Then this government has to borrow 50 million to settle this deficit in the primary account. Not only that, there's a inherent interest burden from previous government. Then IMF comes and asks government, please pay your interest payment. You have to pay 100 million interest. Yes, you might not have taken these loans from IMF, but your country or previous governments have taken these loans. So as a new president or as a new government, you have to pay this 100. But now this government has, no funds, Lamai. Even the government has not been able to cover its all expenses from income, right? 50 million has to be covered from loans. Then Lamai, this 100 also, this 100 million interest payment has to be covered from purely, I mean, total amount has to be covered from loans, Lamai. Then total loan amount or total borrowings for this year, Buddha, 50 plus 100. How much the total borrowings? 150. Then, Buddha, we can make a conclusion. If there is a primary account surplus, we can reduce the borrowings. We can reduce the borrowings. You can say that then total borrowing has been decreased from 100 to 80 due to primary account surplus. If I mean primary account balance is column, I remember we have to borrow funds which equals to interest payment. If there's a primary account deficit, if there's a primary account deficit, we have to increase our borrowings. Are you okay with this? Can you write this down? ළමයි මේ 80 කියන්නේ total borrowings. එතකොට answer for second question. Total borrowings. Second economy එකේ total borrowings 100 ළමයි. Third එකේ 150. 150 එන්නේ කොහොමද ළමයි? මේ government එකේ primary account එකේ deficit එක. එතකොට ඒ deficit එක finance කරන්නේ නම් කොහොමද? ඒකට loan එකක් ගන්න වෙනවා 50 million. In addition to that, interest payment on past debt has to be financed from borrowings, and total borrowing should be 100. Now let me know once you are done.
Done, sir.
Right, then Lamai, look at this reading part. Importance of primary account balance, Lamai. This question was tested 2 times, Lamai. Last 5 years. Can you read this? I'll send this to the group. Primary budget balance is key determinant. Is, can you take a screenshot, Lamai? Importance of primary account balance. Primary account
Sir,
balance.
there are some dotted lines
Ah,
in
yes,
the
yes, yes.
tube.
That dotted line. For that dotted line, Puta, the importance of primary account, this note should be there.
This is not clear.
Not enough.
Also not clear.
Sorry.
Not clear, sir.
No, I'll give time you to write it down. Okay, just read it, Puta. Primary account balance is a key determinant or indicator of government debt dynamic. Surplus primary balance is essential to maintain public debt to GDP. Don't worry about public debt to GDP ratio, Puta. It will be. Look at third point. Primary deficit indicates government borrowings requirements. Primary account balance indicates government borrowing requirements. Thus, if primary balance is 0, now you can understand this point, Lama. If primary balance is 0, then overall fiscal balance is equal to interest payments. Overall fiscal balance equal to interest payment, because only the difference between overall balance and primary account balance is only interest payment. If primary account balance is 0, Lamai, the overall fiscal balance should be equal to interest payment. Accordingly, no additional debts are required, Lamai. No additional debts are required. This means that no additional debt are no additional debt are required to cover up the expenses of this year, Lamai. Because there's no any gap between this year expenses and this year income, Lamai. So no need to borrow funds to cover the gap between income and expenses which are relevant for this current year. Right? The government has to borrow funds to only to pay the interest payment on past debts. No additional loans are added. I think you are okay with this. Puta, this I think it takes time. After the class or tomorrow, read it very carefully with examples. Then you will realize what it is. Okay. Then Buddha, next point, primary balance is general indicator. This point is really important. Primary balance is general indicator or measure of fiscal responsibility, also known as fiscal discipline. Thus, maintaining primary balance is essential, Lamai. An essential requirement to attain low debt to GDP and fiscal responsibility. So don't worry about this debt to GDP ratio. I'll explain that point later on. Just remember, Buddha, conclusion, we can say primary account balance, turning primary account balance, Lama, or moving to primary account balance, Lama, it's really important for especially developed country, Lama. Okay, because it shows that present government is really efficient, Lama, right, in managing government expense. government income. That is called fiscal discipline. Fiscal discipline. Yes, mean government is in the right track, right? Are you okay with this? Okay, the Lamai. Lamai, can you take a screenshot and write this down in the space given, page number 25?
The screen is not clear.
Sorry, Buddha?
The screen is not clear, sir.
Screen is not clear. Now same.
Now it's fine, sir.
Now it's fine. Lamai, can you take a screen? Oh, no, I'll send this to the group. Then Buddha, you can copy it down, right, as homework. Right? I'll explain net cash deficit. Give me 1 minute. I'll send this to the group. You can copy it down. Shall we discuss this net primary income, sorry, net financial deficit tomorrow?
Okay, sir.
Okay. I'll send the document to the group, Uda, you can complete. There's a page in page number 26. Importance of primary account balance or primary budget surplus. I'll send to the group, right?
Is it a part of dispute?
Sorry, Daru?
Is it a part of dispute?
No, I'm talking about only this importance of primary account balance.
Okay,
Only
sir.
this part, Sigma. I'm talking about only this part. There is a space to write this down. Are you okay with me?
Okay, sir.
Okay, the Buddha. Our calculations are separately එහෙම නෑ tute එකේ. එකවා writing book එකේ හරි නැත්නම් use the last page or sticky note. These are additional workings ළමයි. මොකද මම මේ example එක දැම්මේ ළමයි දැන් ඔයාලට කොච්චර කිව්වත් තේරෙන්නේ නෑ ළමයි. දැන් කිව්වට primary account balance එක මේමයි debts loans ගන්න ඕනේ නෑ. එහෙම කිව්වට තේරෙන්නේ නෑ ළමයි. ඔක numerical example එක කරන්න ඕනේ. මම මේක තේරෙද ළමයි? මේක මම copy කරගන්න. net cash deficit එක අපි හෙමුණා. Okay, I'll send this to the group after the class now. It's right. Okay, Buddha, that's enough today. Bye. Good night.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Goodbye.
you, sir.
Bye
Good
bye.
night, sir.
Recording stopped.